Okay, boys, so we're just going to do one last example. The weather forecaster says that the probability of a rainy day in April is 30%. So often they will do this sort of thing where they'll give you percentages, and that's how they actually determine when to have their Olympic Games. So when we had the Olympic Games in the year 2000 in Sydney, they looked at which month had the lowest chance of rainfall, and that was September, and that's when they had it. So it depends on the city that's having the Olympics when they decide to have it and when it's less likely to be getting rain. Okay, so the weather forecaster says the probability of a rainy day is 30%. So they want to know, is this a high probability or a low probability? Well, it's a low probability because anything less than half is going to be considered low, anything more than half will be considered high. So it's less than 50%, which is less than a half. Okay, now the next one. This is one of those expected number questions that we put the notes in earlier about. So about how many rainy days are expected in April. So when you do the expected number of rainy days, you have to do the probability of rainy days, which is 30%, and times by the number of trials, which is times by the number of days in April, because that's what we're actually talking about. So it'll be the number of days that goes there. So 30% we write as 30 over 100. You know that percent means out of 100, so it's 30 out of 100. And we're going to times by the 30. Now, you need to know that there are 30 days in April, or you're going to get this question wrong. Okay, so some things like that you are expected to know. I know some of you aren't very good at it, but you do need to know it. So if you're not sure, remember you can do it with your knuckles. So with your knuckles, if you have a look at it, you have January, anything on the knuckle is 31 days, and anything in between the knuckles is 30. So January, 31. February is a bit different, we'll talk about that later. March, back on the knuckle, 31. April, 30. May on the knuckle, 31. June, 30. July on the knuckle, 31. Then we're back to the beginning. August is 31 because it's on a knuckle. September, 30. October, 31. November, 30. And December, 31. Okay, so it's a good way of doing it. February is different because of how the calendar had to change when they realised that it took us 365 days to revolve all the way around the sun. Before that, they weren't sure what was going on, and that's why they had it all planned with their numbers, and then they had to adjust things. All right, so we originally had 10 months in the year, and then they brought in July and August as the 2 months in the middle, and that was after Julius Augustus Caesar. He named those months after himself and put those 2 months in the middle of the year there. That's why they go out of sync a little bit, and you get July on 31 days and August on 31 days. And then they had to adjust a little bit because they realised that it actually took us 365 and a quarter days to revolve around the sun, and that's why February was the one that got the 28 or 29 days. Okay, so enough of the history lesson. That's all we're doing for today, and I'll see you next lesson.